Happy Chanukah, everyone. Tonight we'll have the joyous privilege of kindling the very first flame on the menorah. As Jews around the world will usher in the light of Chanukah, the miraculous holiday of Chag Urim. You know, there's a remarkable story told that in the year 1777, the soldiers were stationed in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. And there was this one lone Jewish soldier, and it was the first night of Chanukah. So after all the soldiers had fallen asleep in the tent, this soldier took out his Chanukah and recited the blessings and kindled the first flame of the menorah. And as he sat there on this bitter cold night in a very difficult battle, he looked at the flames and he began to get emotional and he started to cry. Suddenly the general walked over to him and said, "Young man, why are you weeping? Are you cold?" And the soldier looked up at General Washington and said, he jumped up and saluted the general and he said, "No, it's not that I'm cold. I'm weeping before our merciful Father in heaven and asking for his divine protection because all of us are in God's hands." The general sat down with him on the floor and watched the flame of the menorah and said, "Tell me about your holiday of Chanukah." And the soldier went on to explain that it's a miracle of the Maccabees, a small army fighting for freedom, religious freedom, and overcoming the mighty Syrian Greek armies. And then the soldier looked at General Washington and said, "General, I came to this country seeking freedom from despots and tyrants, and we will be victorious in battle, just like our ancestors did." The general's face shone with confidence and inspiration, and he stood up, thanked the soldier, and walked away. 1 year later, in the year 1778, this soldier was back at home with his wife when there was a knock at the door on the very first night of Chanukah. His wife opened the door and was shocked to see President George Washington was standing at the door, the general. He came into the house and he sat down next to the menorah and he said, "I want you to know, last year was a very difficult battle in Valley Forge and I was losing confidence. But then when I saw you light the menorah and you told me your story about the Maccabees, it renewed my faith, it renewed my hope and my courage. And thank God we won the battle. You will be getting a Medal of Honor," George Washington told him. "But tonight I brought you a little memento." And he put down a silver coin with a engraved menorah on the coin, with a little note on the coin that said, "Thank you for the inspiration of the miracle of Chanukah." Tonight we light the first candle. And the question is asked, why do we light 8 candles? Tonight they had a cruse of oil to burn. The miracle really only started tomorrow night when the candle outlived its natural abilities. And our rabbis say that tonight we celebrate the miracle of not giving up hope, of searching the temple to find that one cruse of oil and kindling it. And that's the story of the Jewish people. Whether it was Moses at the burning bush, seeing the flame of the burning bush, and knowing that God will take his people out of Egypt, whether it's the story of the miracle of Chanukah, or whether it's the story of our lives throughout all of Jewish history, we always kindle that little flame of light, believing that the light will dispel all the darkness in the world. And that flame of hope and faith in God kept on burning, not just for 8 days, but for 2,200 years until this very day. And even though we find ourselves today in difficult times and we can't gather as usual, I invite everyone to join us on our synagogue Zoom interactive Chanukah Lighting with a concert and comedy at 7:30. And once again, we will show that the Jewish people always find a way to create light, no matter what the situation and the circumstances around us are, because ultimately we have faith that light will prevail over darkness. Wishing everyone a joyous and a meaningful, happy Chanukah.